You need to leave. Now. The lawyer's voice cuts through the sterile office air like a blade. The estate has been settled, and frankly, Mrs. Chen, you have no legal claim to remain in the penthouse any longer. Sarah Chen clutches her 18-month-old daughter closer to her chest, feeling Lily's tiny fingers grip her worn sweater. The little girl's unusual violet eyes, so startlingly beautiful, so unmistakably his, peer around the room with an intelligence that seems far too advanced for her age. I just need more time, Sarah whispers, hating how her voice shakes. My daughter, she's been sick, and I can't afford to move right now. The medical bills alone, not my problem. The lawyer shuffles papers with deliberate coldness. Security will escort you out if necessary. The new owners take possession tomorrow. Sarah's heart pounds as she stares at the eviction notice. 18 months ago, she was a struggling waitress working double shifts at an upscale hotel restaurant. Then he walked into her life, tall, devastatingly handsome, with eyes like winter storms, and in presence that made every woman in the room stop breathing. Adrian Blackthorne, billionaire CEO, old world charm wrapped in a perfectly tailored suit. One impossible night. One night where she felt like Cinderella, swept away to his penthouse high above the city, where he made love to her like she was precious, irreplaceable. His cold skin, his whispered words in languages she didn't recognize, the way he'd traced her pulse with reverent fingers. She should have known something was different. Should have questioned why he only appeared after sunset, why mirrors seemed to avoid his reflection, why her neck bore marks she couldn't quite remember receiving. But then morning came, and she woke up alone. No note, no explanation, just the lingering scent of sandalwood and something darker, more primal. 3 weeks later, she discovered she was pregnant. Now, bouncing Lily gently as her daughter begins to fuss, Sarah makes a decision that terrifies her. She's kept his secret, kept their daughter's existence hidden because what was she supposed to do? Track down one of the most powerful men in the country and claim he'd fathered her child during a one-night encounter? Who would believe her? Before we continue, please prove my mom wrong and help me hit 1,000 subscribers. Okay, let's continue. But watching her beautiful, unusual little girl, who never sleeps at night, who seems to understand conversations far beyond her age, whose tiny teeth are coming in strangely sharp, Sarah knows she's out of options. That evening, she sits at her tiny kitchen table in the studio apartment she can barely afford, Lily sleeping peacefully in her crib nearby. Sarah pulls out a piece of simple stationery and begins to write, her hands trembling slightly. Dear Adrian, you don't know me, but 18 months ago, we spent a night together. I was the waitress from the Meridian Hotel, restaurant. I never expected to contact you, but circumstances have changed. I have a daughter. She's yours. Her name is Lily, and she has your eyes, that impossible violet color I've never seen on anyone else. She has other traits too, things I don't understand, but I think you might. I'm not asking for money or demanding anything from you, but she deserves to know her father, and you deserve to know she exists. If you want to meet her, I'll be at Riverside Park this Sunday at sunset, by the old oak tree near the pond. If you don't come, I'll understand. But I had to try. Sarah Chen. She addresses the envelope to Blackthorne Industries, marks it personal and confidential, and before she can lose her nerve, walks to the mailbox on the corner and drops it in. 3 days pass. Sarah tries to maintain her routine, working her 2 part-time jobs, caring for Lily, pretending her heart doesn't jump every time her phone buzzes. Sunday arrives gray and overcast, with autumn leaves swirling in the crisp wind. She almost doesn't go to the park. What if he thinks she's some delusional woman trying to trap him? What if he sends lawyers instead of coming himself? What if he comes and takes one look at Lily and denies everything? But as sunset approaches, she finds herself walking toward Riverside Park anyway, Lily bundled warmly in her stroller. The old oak tree stands massive and gnarled, its branches reaching toward the darkening sky like ancient arms. Sarah settles on the bench nearby, lifting Lily into her lap. Her daughter babbles softly, reaching for the last rays of sunlight filtering through the leaves, As darkness falls, those remarkable violet eyes seem to grow even brighter. "I don't think he's coming, sweetheart," Sarah murmurs, pressing a kiss to Lily's dark hair. "Maybe this was a mistake." "It wasn't a mistake." The voice emerges from the shadows behind her, rich and familiar, and sending shivers down her spine. Sarah turns slowly, her breath catching in her throat. Adrian Blackthorne steps into the dim glow of the park lamp, and he's exactly as devastatingly beautiful as she remembers. Tall and lean, with that same otherworldly elegance, wearing a long black coat that makes him look like he's stepped out of another century. His pale skin seems to glow in the darkness, and those incredible violet eyes are fixed intently on the baby in her arms. "Sarah." He says her name like a prayer, like something sacred. I got your letter." She stands on unsteady legs, Lily still cradled against her chest. "I wasn't sure you'd remember me." Something like pain flashes across his perfect features. "Remember you? I've thought about you every single day for 18 months. I left that morning because I had to, not because I wanted to. There are things about me, about my world, that are dangerous. I thought I was protecting you." His gaze drops to Lily, and Sarah watches his entire expression transform. Wonder, recognition, and something deeper, something primal and protective, flood his features. "May I?" he asks softly, extending his hands. Sarah hesitates for just a moment, then carefully transfers Lily into his arms. The baby doesn't fuss or cry. Instead, she looks up at Adrian with those knowing violet eyes and makes a soft cooing sound, reaching one tiny hand toward his face. "Hello, little one," Adrian whispers, and his voice is thick with emotion. "You're so beautiful, so perfect." Lily's small fingers brush against his pale cheek, and something magical happens. Her eyes seem to glow brighter, and Adrian's do the same. Sarah gasps as she realizes they're communicating somehow, in a way that transcends words. "She has my eyes," Adrian says quietly, "but she has your strength, your warmth. I can feel it in her. Adrian, there are things about her I don't understand. She never sleeps during normal hours. She's incredibly strong for her age, and her teeth are coming in differently than human children's," he finishes. "Sarah, I need to tell you something, and I need you to try to keep an open mind." He sits beside her on the bench, still cradling Lily with the natural ease of a devoted father. In the lamplight, Sarah notices how his canine teeth are slightly longer, sharper than they should be. "What I'm about to tell you will sound impossible," he begins, "but our daughter is proof that it's true. Sarah, I'm not entirely human. My family, we're vampires. Not the monsters from horror movies, but an ancient race that has coexisted with humanity for millennia. We can love, we can feel, we can even have children with humans, though it's rare. Very rare." Sarah stares at him, her mind reeling. But as she looks at Lily, at the way her daughter seems so comfortable in her father's arms, so many things begin to make sense. "That's why she's different," she whispers. "That's why she's so strong, so alert. Why she prefers nighttime." "She's a dhampir," Adrian explains gently. "Half human, half vampire. She'll grow up stronger and faster than human children, with enhanced senses and intelligence. She'll age normally until adulthood, then her aging will slow significantly. She can walk in sunlight, unlike pure vampires, but she'll always prefer the night." Sarah reaches over to stroke Lily's cheek. "Will she need blood?" "Not like I do. She can survive perfectly well on human food, though she may crave rare meat as she gets older. She's the perfect bridge between our two worlds." They sit in comfortable silence for a moment, watching as Lily seems to drift off to sleep in her father's arms. When Adrian looks up at Sarah, his expression is intense. "I want to be part of her life, part of your life, if you'll let me. I know this is overwhelming, and I know you have no reason to trust me after I disappeared. But Sarah, you have to understand. I'm not just some wealthy CEO. I'm the king of the North American Vampire Council. My world is full of politics and dangers that I never wanted to touch you. King? Sarah's voice comes out as a squeak. Adrian's mouth curves in a slight smile. I know, it's a lot. But that's why I stayed away. If my enemies knew about you, about Lily, you'd become targets. But now that she exists, now that I've seen her, his eyes flash with fierce protectiveness. I'll tear apart anyone who tries to harm either of you. What does this mean for us? For her future? It means she's a princess, Adrian says simply. It means she'll never want for anything. She'll have the best education, the best protection. It means she'll grow up knowing both sides of her heritage, and she'll be stronger for it. He turns to face Sarah fully. And it means I'd like the chance to court you properly this time. To show you my world. To let you choose whether you want to be part of it. Sarah's heart pounds. Court me? I've been alone for over 2 centuries, Sarah. In one night, you showed me what it meant to feel human again. And now you've given me the most precious gift imaginable. He glances down at their sleeping daughter. I'm not asking you to decide tonight. I'm asking you to let me prove that I'm worthy of both of you. Before Sarah can respond, a harsh voice cuts through the peaceful evening. Well, well, isn't this touching? 3 figures emerge from the shadows beyond the lamplight, and Sarah immediately senses danger. Adrian's entire posture changes, becoming predatory and alert while still protecting Lily. Marcus, Adrian's voice is deadly quiet. You're trespassing on neutral territory. The man in front, pale, sharp-featured, wearing an expensive suit that can't quite hide his menacing aura, laughs coldly. Neutral territory? How interesting that the great Adrian Blackthorne chooses to conduct his personal business in such common surroundings. Sarah shrinks back as the 3 strangers spread out, clearly trying to surround them. Who are they? She whispers. Council members who oppose my leadership, Adrian replies without taking his eyes off Marcus. They've been looking for any weakness they can exploit. A human lover was weakness enough, Marcus sneers. But a half-breed child? Adrian, you've handed us everything we need to call for your removal from the throne. You'll do no such thing. Adrian's voice carries ancient authority, and Sarah feels the power radiating from him. This is no longer the gentle man who was cradling their daughter moments ago. This is a king defending his family. Won't we? Marcus steps closer. The council has strict laws about exposing our kind to humans, about contaminating our bloodlines. Your little family here violates both. Sarah's blood runs cold. Adrian. Take the baby, Adrian says quietly, carefully transferring Lily back to Sarah's arms. When I tell you to run, head for the parking lot. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. You are. His violet eyes meet hers, blazing with power and determination. Because they're not just threatening me anymore. They're threatening our daughter. Marcus laughs. How noble. The mighty vampire king, brought low by human sentiment. This will make a wonderful story for the council. The only story the council will hear, Adrian says, rising to his full height, is how 3 traitors met their end for threatening the royal heir. The change that comes over Adrian is terrifying and magnificent. His eyes blaze brighter, his canine teeth extend into true fangs, and an aura of deadly power surrounds him. Sarah has never seen anything so beautiful or so dangerous. Last chance, Marcus. Leave now, and I might let you live. 3 against 1, Adrian. Even you aren't that powerful. Adrian's smile is cold and sharp. You're about to find out exactly how powerful a king can be when defending his family. The fight, when it comes, is swift and brutal. Adrian moves like liquid shadow, faster than Sarah's human eyes can follow. The sound of violence fills the quiet park, growls, impacts the crash of bodies against trees. Sarah huddles on the bench, sheltering Lily, trying to follow the battle in the darkness. When silence falls, Adrian emerges from the shadows, straightening his coat. His 3 opponents are nowhere to be seen, though Sarah notices several large boulders near the pond that she doesn't remember being there before. "Are they," she begins. "Handled," Adrian says simply. He approaches slowly, giving her time to adjust to seeing him in his true nature. "Sarah, I'm sorry you had to witness that. This is exactly why I stayed away. My world is dangerous." But Sarah surprises them both by standing and reaching for his hand. "Your world is dangerous," she agrees, "but so is mine. I've been struggling alone, barely able to provide for Lily, constantly afraid I'll lose the roof over our heads. At least your dangers come with the power to fight back." Adrian stares down at their joined hands. "You're not afraid of me?" "I'm terrified," Sarah admits, "but not of you. I'm afraid of making the wrong choice for Lily. I'm afraid of not being good enough for your world. I'm afraid of falling in love with someone who might have to leave again." "I will never leave you again," Adrian says fiercely. "Not by choice. Sarah, you are my mate. I knew it that first night, but I thought I was being selfish, putting you in danger. I won't make that mistake again." He cups her face gently with his free hand. "You are the queen of the North American Vampire Council, if you choose to be. Lily is a princess, and anyone who dares threaten either of you will answer to me." Sarah looks down at Lily, who has slept peacefully through everything, as if she somehow knew her father would protect them. When she looks back up at Adrian, her decision is made. What happens now? "Now," Adrian says, leaning down to kiss her forehead tenderly, "I take my family home. I introduce you to a world where you'll be cherished and protected. I show you what it means to be the mate of a vampire king. And if I don't adapt well to your world," Adrian's smile is soft and genuine, "then we'll create our own world, somewhere between your humanity and my darkness, somewhere perfect for our daughter to grow up loved and safe." He gestures, and a sleek black car emerges from the darkness, so quiet Sarah didn't hear it approach. A driver gets out and opens the door, bowing slightly to Adrian. "Your Majesty," the driver says formally, "the penthouse has been prepared for your family's arrival." Sarah blinks. "Family?" "I told you," Adrian says, helping her into the luxurious car interior. "You're my mate. Lily is my heir. That makes you both family in every way that matters to my kind." As they settle into the plush leather seats, Lily finally wakes up, blinking those remarkable violet eyes. She looks between her parents and makes a happy gurgling sound, as if she approves of this new arrangement. "She likes car rides," Sarah says wonderingly. "She likes being with both her parents," Adrian corrects. "Sarah, I want you to know, I don't expect you to change everything about yourself to fit into my world. I fell in love with a brave, hard-working, genuine woman who treated me like a man instead of a title. I want that woman to be my queen." "Queen," Sarah repeats faintly. "I still can't quite believe this is real." Adrian takes her hand, lifting it to his lips to press a gentle kiss against her knuckles. "Believe it. Tomorrow night there will be a formal council meeting where I'll present you both. They'll witness my official claim, and anyone who objects will have to challenge me directly for the right. And if someone does challenge you," Adrian's expression turns predatory, "then they'll learn why I've held the throne for over a century, unchallenged." The car pulls up in front of a gleaming high-rise that Sarah recognizes. It's the same building where she spent that magical night 18 months ago. But this time, instead of sneaking out before dawn, she's being welcomed home. The penthouse is exactly as she remembered, but now she sees it through new eyes. The antique furniture isn't just expensive, it's genuinely ancient, pieces that Adrian has collected over centuries of life. The artwork on the walls includes paintings she's certain she's seen in museums. Everything speaks of old money, old power, old magic. "The master suite has been prepared for you," Adrian says, carrying Lily with practiced ease, "and the room adjoining it has been converted into a nursery. If you prefer separate accommodations—" "No," Sarah interrupts quickly. "I mean, we should probably take things slowly, but I don't want to be apart. Especially not tonight." Adrian nods, understanding. There's a lot to adjust to. We'll go at whatever pace feels right for you. He leads her through the penthouse, showing her spaces that will now be hers. A library, with first edition books in dozens of languages, a solarium where she can enjoy sunlight while he sleeps during the day, a modern kitchen equipped with everything she could need. The staff will handle most of the household management, Adrian explains, but I know you value your independence. This will always be your home first, not just my house. In the nursery, Sarah gasps. It's been transformed into something from a fairy tale, a crib that looks hand-carved from ancient wood, mobiles that seem to move on their own in subtle, hypnotic patterns, toys that she suspects are both educational and magical. How did you do all this so quickly? She asks. I had help, Adrian admits. The moment I received your letter, I started preparing. I prayed that you'd give me a chance to be part of her life. He sets Lily down in the crib, and she immediately reaches for one of the mobiles, laughing with delight as it responds to her touch with gentle chimes. She's going to love it here, Sarah says softly. What about her mother? Adrian asks. Will she love it here? Sarah turns to find him watching her intently, vulnerability clear in his ancient eyes. This powerful, dangerous man, this king, is afraid she'll reject him. Adrian, she says, stepping closer. 18 months ago, you gave me the most incredible night of my life, and then you were gone. I convinced myself it was just a fantasy, something too good to be real. But you gave me Lily, and she's the most real, most precious thing in my world. She reaches up to touch his face, marveling at the coolness of his skin. I don't know how to be a queen. I don't know anything about vampire politics or ancient bloodlines, but I know how to love, and I know how to fight for my family. If you're willing to be patient with me. I'll spend centuries being patient with you, Adrian promises. I'll spend forever proving that you made the right choice. He leans down to kiss her, and it's just as magical as she remembered. His lips are cool and soft, his touch reverent and careful. But this time, there's something deeper, a connection that goes beyond physical attraction. This time, she can feel his love, his devotion, his absolute commitment to her and their daughter. When they break apart, both of them are breathing heavily. There's something else, Adrian says quietly. Being mated to me, being part of my world, it will change you. Not into a vampire, but our bond will strengthen you, extend your life significantly. You'll age much more slowly, and you'll develop some enhanced abilities. What kind of abilities? Enhanced strength, better senses, limited telepathy with me and Lily. You'll be able to sense danger, to protect yourself and her even when I'm not there. His expression grows serious. Sarah, you need to understand. This isn't reversible. Once you're fully bonded to me, you'll be part of the vampire world forever. Sarah looks over at Lily, who has fallen, asleep again, surrounded by the gentle magic of her new nursery. Her daughter will grow up in this world regardless. The question is whether Sarah wants to be strong enough to protect and guide her, or whether she wants to remain the weak link in their family chain. How do we complete the bond? She asks. Adrian's eyes widen. Sarah, you don't have to decide tonight. This is a lot to process. Adrian. She stops him with a hand on his chest. I've been making decisions based on fear for too long. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of reaching for something that seems too good to be true. But look what fear got me. 18 months of struggling alone, nearly losing my home, almost depriving Lily of her father. She takes a deep breath. I love you. I loved you that first night, even though I barely knew you. I've loved you every day since, even when I thought I'd never see you again. And I love the family we've created together. So yes, I want the bond. I want to be strong enough to stand beside you, not behind you. Adrian searches her face intently, looking for any sign of doubt. When he finds none, his expression fills with wonder and joy. The bonding ritual is simple, but permanent, he explains. It involves an exchange of blood and formal vows witnessed by moonlight. We can do it tonight, if you're certain. I'm certain. They move to the penthouse's private balcony, high above the glittering city. The moon is full, casting silver light across the space. Adrian produces 2 ancient goblets from somewhere, their surfaces engraved with symbols Sarah doesn't recognize, but somehow understands. These goblets have been used in bonding ceremonies for my family for over 1,000 years, Adrian explains. Sarah Chen, do you freely choose to bond yourself to me? To become my mate and my queen? To share my world and my responsibilities for as long as we both exist? I do, Sarah says firmly. Do you accept the changes this bond will bring to your human nature? And do you promise to use any power you gain in service of protecting our family and our people? I do. Adrian nods, then extends one sharp fingernail to pierce his own wrist. Dark blood flows into the first goblet, and Sarah is surprised that the scent doesn't repel her. Instead, it smells like sandalwood and power, like home. Your turn, Adrian says gently. Sarah takes the small ceremonial knife he offers and makes a shallow cut on her own wrist. Her bright red blood flows into the second goblet, and when it mixes with the moonlight, it seems to glow. Adrian Blackthorn, Sarah says, surprising herself by instinctively knowing the right words. I choose you as my mate, my king, my partner in all things. I accept your world as my world, your people as my people, your enemies as my enemies. They exchange goblets and drink simultaneously. The taste is metallic but not unpleasant, and Sarah feels a warm tingling spread throughout her body immediately. Sarah Chen, Blackthorn, Adrian says, his voice carrying the weight of ancient ritual. I claim you as my mate, my queen, my equal in all things. I offer you my protection, my devotion, my throne, and my heart for all eternity. The moment he finishes speaking, Sarah feels the bond snap into place like a physical thing. Suddenly, she can sense Adrian's emotions as clearly as her own. His overwhelming love, his fierce protectiveness, his deep contentment at finally being complete. The city lights below seem brighter, sounds seem clearer, and she feels stronger than she ever has in her life. How do you feel? Adrian asks, setting down his goblet and reaching for her hands. Different. Better. Like I've been living in black and white my whole life, and now I can see color. Sarah marvels at the sensations. Is this how you always feel? This is how I feel when I'm with you, Adrian replies. Sarah, you need to know. The council meeting tomorrow night won't be easy. There will be vampires who question your worthiness, who test your resolve. But you're not the same woman who walked into that park tonight. You're a queen now, and queens don't bow to anyone except by choice. Sarah straightens her shoulders, feeling the truth of his words settle into her bones. Let them question me. I have something worth fighting for now. They're interrupted by a soft cry from the nursery. Lily has woken up, and even from the balcony, Sarah can sense her daughter's distress. She knows something changed, Adrian observes as they hurry inside. The bond affects her too, since she's connected to both of us. Sarah lifts Lily from her crib and immediately feels a rush of new sensations. She can sense her daughter's emotions now, can feel the confusion and need for reassurance. But more than that, she can feel Lily's power, the incredible potential sleeping in her tiny half-vampire body. She's going to be extraordinary, Sarah whispers in amazement. She already is. Adrian wraps his arms around both of them, and for the first time in 18 months, Sarah feels completely safe. She's the bridge between our worlds, the proof that love can overcome any difference. Lily settles immediately in her mother's arms, as if she can sense the new strength and stability in their family bond. Her violet eyes look between her parents with what seems like approval before she drifts back to sleep. What happens tomorrow? Sarah asks as they move toward the master bedroom. Tomorrow we face the council. We present our daughter as my heir, and you as my queen. We show them that this family is not a weakness to be exploited, but a strength that makes the kingdom more powerful. Adrian's voice is confident, but Sarah can sense underlying tension through their new bond. You're worried about something specific, she observes. Adrian hesitates, then nods. There's an old law that hasn't been invoked in centuries. If a significant portion of the council objects to a king's mate, they can call for a trial by combat. It's meant to prove that the king is still strong enough to protect the kingdom despite his personal attachments. And you think they might invoke it? Marcus and his supporters might try. But Sarah, you need to understand. I've never been defeated in combat. And now that I have you and Lily to protect, I'm stronger than I've ever been. They settle into the enormous bed together, Lily sleeping peacefully in a bassinet beside them. Sarah curls against Adrian's side, marveling at how right it feels despite everything that's changed. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and discover this is all a dream, she admits. If it's a dream, then I'm dreaming it too, Adrian replies, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. Sarah, there's something I need you to know. That night, 18 months ago, I didn't plan for it to happen. I came to that hotel restaurant because I'd heard rumors about council members meeting there secretly. But the moment I saw you, everything else became irrelevant. What do you mean? I mean, I took one look at you, tired from your double shift, still smiling at difficult customers, treating everyone with kindness despite how poorly some of them treated you, and I knew you were my mate. Vampires don't choose their mates rationally. We're called to them on a level deeper than conscious thought. Sarah props herself up on her elbow to look at him. You knew that night that I was your mate? I suspected. The confirmation came when I woke up the next morning feeling more content than I had in 2 centuries, followed immediately by panic about what I'd exposed you to. Adrian's expression grows regretful. I thought I was protecting you by leaving. I thought you'd be safer living a human life without me. Instead, I spent 18 months thinking I'd imagined how incredible it was between us. Never doubt that, Adrian says fiercely. What we have is once in a lifetime, even for vampires. Some of my kind go centuries without finding their true mate. I found mine disguised as a tired waitress with a kind heart and a beautiful smile. Sarah leans down to kiss him, pouring all her love and commitment into the contact. When they break apart, both of their eyes are glowing softly in the darkness. The bond is settling, Adrian observes. How do you feel? Perfect, Sarah answers honestly. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm exactly where I belong. The next evening arrives faster than Sarah expected. She spends the day adjusting to her new reality, servants who treat her with respectful deference, a wardrobe that appeared as if by magic, filled with clothing in her exact size, and the strange experience of watching Adrian sleep the deep, death-like sleep of his kind during daylight hours. But as sunset approaches and he wakes, the nervousness sets in. The council meets in the old cathedral downtown, Adrian explains as he dresses in a formal black suit that makes him look every inch the royal he is. It's been vampire territory for over 100 years, protected by wards and ancient agreements. Sarah checks her reflection one final time. The dress Adrian's people provided is stunning. Deep midnight blue silk that brings out her eyes, cut in a style that's elegant and queenly, without being ostentatious. She looks like someone who belongs beside a king. Remember, Adrian says, adjusting his cufflinks with practiced ease, you are my equal in that room. You don't ask permission to speak, you don't apologize for existing, and you never, under any circumstances, show fear. What if I am afraid? Then you fake confidence until it becomes real. That's what being royal means, protecting your people by being stronger than your doubts. They travel to the cathedral in a convoy of black cars, with Lily sleeping peacefully in Sarah's arms. The baby seems completely unaffected by the tension, as if she instinctively trusts her parents to handle whatever comes. The cathedral is breathtaking. Ancient stone, soaring arches, and stained glass that depicts scenes Sarah realizes must be vampire history rather than religious imagery. Dozens of pale, elegant figures fill the pews, all turning to watch as Adrian leads his family down the center aisle. Sarah keeps her chin up and her step steady, drawing strength from the bond that lets her feel Adrian's confidence and love. These vampires might be older, more powerful, more experienced in this world, but none of them have what she has. The absolute certainty that she's fighting for her family. At the front of the cathedral, an ornate throne sits empty. Adrian's seat as king. But tonight he doesn't take it. Instead, he stands before the assembled council, Sarah beside him and Lily in her arms. Members of the North American Vampire Council. Adrian's voice carries easily through the space, commanding and authoritative. I present my mate, Sarah Chen Blackthorn, and my heir, Lily Blackthorn. A murmur runs through the assembled vampires. Sarah catches words like human and unprecedented and dangerous precedent, but she keeps her expression calm and regal. Marcus rises from a pew near the front, his expression coldly disapproving. Your Majesty, while we appreciate your personal happiness, the Council has concerns about this unprecedented situation. Voice your concerns, Adrian replies curtly. A human queen creates security risks we've never had to consider. She cannot defend herself against our enemies. She has no understanding of our laws or customs, and her mortal lifespan means any political alliances built through her will be temporary at best. Sarah feels anger flare through the bond, not her own, but Adrian's. Before he can respond, she steps forward slightly. Councilman Marcus, isn't it? Sarah's voice is steady and clear. I appreciate your concerns, but I think you're operating under some incorrect assumptions. Marcus's eyebrows rise. Oh? First, I'm no longer entirely human. The bonding ritual has enhanced my abilities significantly. I can defend myself and my daughter quite effectively now. To demonstrate, Sarah gently shifts Lily to one arm and picks up a heavy stone chalice from a nearby altar, crushing it to powder in her grip without visible effort. Impressed murmurs ripple through the crowd. Second, Sarah continues, you assume I'm ignorant of your customs. But I've been learning. I know, for example, that according to Article 12 of the Council Charter, any member who questions a king's mate must be prepared to offer a better alternative for the kingdom's future. So, tell me, Councilman Marcus, who exactly did you have in mind as a more suitable queen? Marcus's face darkens. Clearly, he hadn't expected a newly bonded human to know council law. Third, Sarah says, her voice growing stronger. You worry about temporary alliances. But look at what this temporary alliance has already produced. She shifts Lily so the assembled council can see her clearly. A Dampier heir who will live for centuries, who can walk in sunlight and shadow equally, who represents the future of vampire-human cooperation. I may not live as long as you, but my daughter will carry on long after we're all gone. Adrian's pride and love wash through their bond so strongly that Sarah has to fight not to smile. An elderly vampire woman stands from the front row. The queen makes valid points, but there remains the question of precedent. If we accept a human queen, even a bonded one, what message does that send to our enemies? It sends the message that we're strong enough to evolve, Sarah replies before Adrian can answer. That we're confident enough in our power to embrace change rather than fear it. And if anyone mistakes adaptation for weakness, she lets her enhanced senses extend, touching the minds of every vampire in the cathedral, projecting absolute certainty and strength. They're welcome to test that assumption. The cathedral falls silent. Sarah has just demonstrated a level of psychic ability that should be impossible for a newly bonded human. Remarkable, the elderly woman murmurs. Your Majesty, your mate appears to be far more than any of us anticipated. She always has been, Adrian replies. The bond simply revealed what was already there. Marcus stands again, his expression desperate now. This is highly irregular. I invoke the right of trial by combat to test the king's continued fitness to rule. Sarah feels Adrian's satisfaction through their bond. He was expecting this, hoping for it even. Very well, Adrian says formally. As the challenged party, I have the right to choose the nature of the combat. I choose single combat, to first yield or incapacitation, with my mate and heir as witnesses. I accept as your challenger, Marcus declares. No, says a new voice from the back of the cathedral. I claim the right of first challenge. Every vampire in the building turns to see who spoke. A figure emerges from the shadows near the entrance, tall, pale, with silver hair and eyes like chips of ice. Sarah can feel the power radiating from him, older and colder than anything she's sensed before. "Victor," Adrian says, and Sarah hears centuries of history in that one word. "I thought you were in Europe." "I came as soon as I heard about your family developments." Victor's gaze fixes on Sarah with disturbing intensity. "Adrian, you've always been impulsive, but this exceeds even your usual disregard for propriety." "State your challenge," Adrian says coldly. "I challenge your right to rule on the grounds that you've compromised the security and dignity of the vampire nation by bonding with a human and producing a half-breed heir." The cathedral erupts in shocked whispers. This is clearly a much more serious challenge than Marcus's. "Victor," the elderly woman says sharply, "you cannot simply return after 50 years of self-imposed exile and challenge a sitting king without... Without what? Without justification?" Victor laughs coldly. "Look around you, Elena. We're witnessing the end of vampire purity, the dilution of our bloodlines, the elevation of a former waitress to queen. If this isn't grounds for challenge, what is?" Sarah feels Adrian's rage through their bond, but also his calculation. He's not just angry. He's strategic. "I accept your challenge," Adrian says formally. "Same terms. Single combat to first yield or incapacitation." "Agreed." The crowd begins rearranging itself, forming a large circle in the center of the cathedral. Sarah realizes she's about to watch the man she loves fight for his throne, his life, and their family's future. "Adrian," she says quietly, catching his arm. "I know," he replies, leaning down to kiss her forehead. "Trust me. And if something goes wrong..." "Nothing will go wrong," Sarah says firmly. "You're going to win because you have something to fight for that he doesn't understand." Adrian's smile is fierce and loving. "Stay with Elena," he indicates the elderly vampire woman. "She'll protect you and Lily if necessary." The combat, when it begins, is unlike anything Sarah could have imagined. Both vampires move with inhuman speed and grace, their forms blurring as they strike and counterstrike. Victor is clearly older, more experienced, but Adrian fights with a fury and determination that's breathtaking to witness. The sound of their battle echoes through the cathedral. The crash of bodies against stone, the ring of what sound like claws against marble, growls that are more animal than human. Sarah clutches Lily tightly, using her enhanced senses to track the fight, even when it moves too fast for her eyes to follow. Through their bond, she can feel Adrian's confidence, his strategy, his absolute determination to protect his family. But she can also feel the toll the combat is taking on him. Victor is powerful, and he's fighting with the desperation of someone who sees his entire world changing in ways he can't accept. The tide turns when Victor makes a critical error. Focused entirely on Adrian, he dismisses Sarah as irrelevant, a mistake that costs him when she projects a burst of psychic energy that disorients him for just a fraction of a second. It's enough. Adrian seizes the opening, pinning Victor against the cathedral wall with inhuman strength. "Yield," Adrian growls, his fangs extended, his eyes blazing with power. "Never," Victor snarls back. "I'll see this kingdom burn before I accept a human queen." "Then you'll see it burn from exile," Adrian replies. "Because that's your choice now. Yield and leave my territory permanently, or die here tonight." For a long moment, the cathedral holds its breath. Then Victor's shoulders slump in defeat. "I yield," he says bitterly. "But Adrian, this isn't over. There are others who share my views, and they won't all be as honorable as I am about expressing them." "Let them come," Adrian says, releasing him. "I'll deal with each threat as it arises. But Victor, if you ever threaten my family again, honor won't save you." Victor straightens his clothes with shaking hands, his defeat absolute. "The kingdom is yours, Adrian. Rule it well." He pauses at the cathedral entrance. And your majesty, he says to Sarah, I hope you're prepared for the challenges ahead. Being a vampire queen is more complicated than loving a vampire king. After Victor leaves, the cathedral slowly returns to normal. Adrian reclaims his throne, and Sarah realizes that a second, smaller throne has been placed beside it, her throne. Members of the council, Adrian says, his voice carrying absolute authority now that his right to rule has been reaffirmed through combat. I present your queen. Any who wish to swear allegiance may do so now. Any who cannot accept her rule are free to transfer to other territories. One by one, the vampires approach to kneel before Sarah and offer their loyalty. Some seem genuine in their acceptance, others merely pragmatic, but all recognize her authority. The elderly woman, Elena, is among the first to approach. Your Majesty, she says with a deep curtsy, I offer my service as your advisor in council matters, if you'll have me. I'd be honored, Sarah replies graciously. As the formal ceremonies wind down, Sarah finds herself seated on her throne with Lily in her arms, Adrian beside her, accepting the homage of vampires who just hours ago were questioning her right to exist in their world. How does it feel? Adrian asks quietly during a lull in the proceedings. Surreal, Sarah admits. This morning I was a struggling single mother. Tonight I'm a vampire queen. Any regrets? Sarah looks down at Lily, who is awake and alert, her violet eyes taking in everything around her with obvious intelligence. Then she looks at Adrian, feeling the steady pulse of his love and devotion through their bond. None, she says firmly. This is exactly where we belong. The last of the council members approaches, Marcus, looking thoroughly defeated but resigned. Your Majesty, he says to Adrian, then turns to Sarah. Your Majesty, I offer my apologies for my earlier opposition. It was clear tonight that you are much more formidable than I anticipated. Apology accepted, Councilman Marcus, Sarah replies with regal grace. I hope we can work together productively in the future. As the cathedral empties, Sarah realizes that this is just the beginning. There will be other challenges, other enemies, other tests of their unusual family's strength. But sitting beside Adrian, holding their extraordinary daughter, she feels ready for whatever comes next. So, she says as they prepare to leave, what does a vampire queen do for an encore? Adrian's laugh is rich and warm. Whatever she wants, my love. Whatever she wants. They walk out of the cathedral together, king, queen, and heir, into a night that belongs entirely to them. In the distance, the city sparkles with lights and possibilities, and Sarah knows that their greatest adventures are still ahead of them.